My name is Esteban. I am from Hallowschurch in Fremont, and today we'll be making unleavened bread. Unleavened bread is really just three ingredients: flour, water, salt. Because it's unleavened, you don't use things like yeast, baking powder, baking soda, any of these agents that would rise the bread or change it, any of these leavening agents. Well, so today that's what we'll be making. I already put my flour and my salt and mix those in together. And when you do this, you want to make sure that your flour and your salt are mixed in well. Sometimes you'll get flour that's clumpy, and sometimes you'll get flour that's just really fluffy. If it's clumpy, be sure to break those clumps, because they just won't be able to mix well with the salt, and then you'll get this like flavorless flour clump, and it just will make for a not so good experience, especially when you're kneading the dough, because you'll just end up getting these little pockets of just dry flour, and it'll just be a not good experience. All right, so I've mixed that in a bowl here. Let me change the angle. All right, so I've got a bowl here with flour and salt already. I'm gonna be putting in my 1 cup of water and mixing those together. All right, I'm mixing everything together, and I'm making sure to scrape off the sides so I don't leave anything behind. Just mixing it all up. If you find that your dough might be a little dry and it's not really picking up everything, feel free to add a little bit more water, just so you can get everything out of the bowl, and then you can start kneading appropriately. All right, looks like for the most part got everything. A good way to know if your dough is just right, not too dry, not too wet, is if it wants to stick to your hand, but it's not too tacky, it's not leaving more parts on your hand than to the dough itself. See? So it's wanting to stick to my hand, but it's also not leaving more dough on my hand. Pick some of it up. All right, now we can start kneading on the table. Just make sure I got everything out of the bowl. Cool. For kneading, you want to make sure that you have a little bit extra flour, so you can dust the surface. This keeps the dough from sticking to the table, from creating just wet doughy clumps and making a big old mess. All right, so I've got a little bit of flour on the table. Got my dough ready for kneading. Flip it over. All right, now it won't get stuck to the table, hopefully. And we begin kneading. And when you knead, you want to make sure that you're pushing forward, folding back. Flip it over, do it again. This way you can really mix everything well when you're kneading. Now the recipe says to do this for about 5 minutes. Ugh. So while this is going on, dough's getting a little sticky. There we go. While this is going on, you should probably start thinking about heating up your pan that you're going to be cooking this in. This is not a bread that is cooked in the oven. This is definitely a bread and or dough that is cooked in a pan. So I have my cast iron skillet pan right here next to me, and I'm gonna preheat that guy. Oh, start it at a medium-low heat just so it's ready for when I get there. Alright. You don't have to do this right away. You don't have to go straight from kneading to throwing it in the cast iron. You can for sure do this a little bit earlier and then put the dough in like the mixing bowl or somewhere if you want to wait, and sort of like do it ahead of time if you'd like. If so, I would suggest putting it in the mixing bowl that you mixed it in, putting a wet or a damp towel, paper towel or hand towel, whatever, just to keep it from drying and creating like a really crusty dry skin on top. If you do this though, keep in mind that it will rest. The gluten's in the flour will be more relaxed. It'll be a little wet, so it won't feel the same as when you just kneaded it. Alright, just got done kneading the dough. Now it's ready to make the dough balls. So just rip off a piece. Again, the dough should be a little bit sticky. Not really wet as much as just lightly sticky. If the dough is too dry, you'll essentially just have like this coating of flour all around it. We have the dough ball, rolled it in some flour. Got our rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a bottle of anything, olive oil, wine, whatever. Okay, so we have the dough ball. We flattened it out to this nice round. Gonna roll it on the rolling pin. Make sure that whenever you roll anything on dough, that you put flour on it so it doesn't stick to the dough. Start from the middle, back and forth, dust, flip over, dust, back and forth, and just sort of repeat the process. Make sure it's all even. If you're wanting it to be perfectly round, you could always use a cup to sort of mold the shape that you want. I'm going to be using this round mold to cut out circles, just so they're nice and uniformed. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's extra work, but I don't mind. Cool. So now you have these little perfect little discs of non-leavened bread. Alright, I have my cast iron nice and hot since I let it preheat earlier. And I'm going to start with one of the little guys. Actually, I think I could fit two in there. Ooh, maybe even a third. This process only takes about 1 to 2 minutes to do. It's really fast. It's really easy. Just gotta watch it. Alright. Oh, yeah. Again, this bread is gonna be hot, so use some tongs, metal spatula, so you don't burn yourself. And there we have it, our unleavened bread. Alright, let's have a taste. Really good. So yeah, that was unleavened bread. Really easy, fast, just a few ingredients, a good pan, and yeah, it's a great thing to make. I just want to say thank you for everyone at Hallows for letting me do this,